not relent. Another down. Do not
Hello and
relent.
welcome to this look at the level 90 heroic version of the Scarlet Halls dungeon in the Mists of Pandaria beta. This dungeon is a combination of the old Scarlet Armory and Scarlet Library dungeons. The first boss of the Scarlet Halls is Houndmaster Brawn, very similar to the Houndmaster that was previously in the Scarlet Armory. This boss doesn't really do anything too special. He summons hounds regularly and will place bleeds on random players, but the damage isn't too high and can be easily handled with a little bit of AoE healing. As with most of the bosses in these heroics, he goes down pretty quickly and sadly isn't anything too special. The second boss in the Scarlet Halls is Armsmaster Harlan, who is a replacement for Herod, who was at the end of the original Scarlet Armory. Now this boss is significantly better than the previous boss, given that he actually has an ability that can kill you, which we'll see shortly. Throughout the fight, just like Herod used to, Harlan will summon waves of Scarlet Ads that will enter through the rear doors at the top of the stairs and attack whoever they are. As you can see, they're attacking me, but the tank will generally just pick them up. They do a bit of damage and you'll kill them relatively quickly. Now, the interesting ability that can actually kill you in this fight is when you will heroic leap to the center of the room and start casting Blades of Light, which is this whirlwind you see right now with the flaming tornado effect. He will move around that center area, then up the stairs and move around the outer area in a certain direction. You must avoid this attack, as if he hits you with it, not only will he deal whirlwind damage to you, which is pretty hefty, but he will also suck you into his whirlwind and hold you there for the duration, meaning you are carried around with him and constantly hit by every single tick of the whirlwind, which will kill you, as it did to our 2 DPS members there who didn't get out of the way, and did to me the first time I ran this when I wasn't aware of the ability. Overall, this makes the fight a lot more interesting, seeing as I actually have to watch out for something, rather than sit behind a boss and DPS as a healer, as I had been in other fights.
You need more training. By the likes of...
The final boss of this dungeon is Flameweaver Kogler, who is a replacement for Arcanist Stone, who is in the Scarlet Library. As you could probably tell from the name, this boss does mainly fire-based attacks and is a fire mage type character. He will routinely cast an interruptible pyroblast, which will deal damage to your tank and leave a dot, which isn't anything to be too worried about. He has two other actual abilities that you generally want to watch out for. The first is that book burner ability there, which will set a bookcase on fire and cause that portion of the room to be covered in a flame strike effect that will constantly pulsate, dealing fire damage, so you generally don't want to stand in that. His second ability is the Greater Dragon's Breath he's now casting, where he will stand in the center of the room and rotate that Dragon's Breath around, which you definitely don't want to get hit by, because not only will it deal damage, but it will also disorient you, like it did to me just then when I tried to be clever and roll through it. This disorient lasts for about 6 seconds, which is not a good amount of time to be out of the fight, unless you can be dispelled, in which case I couldn't. My own fault for trying to be clever. So overall, this fight was pretty fun and actually had a fair bit of stuff going on within the fight. Various amounts of flaming things that you generally wanted to avoid, which was a good amount of fun. Yet sadly, the actual damage from the boss in this fight didn't seem to be too high. This may be because our gear level is brought up to a level for heroics, which they want optimum for testing, and hopefully that's the case, so when it comes to live, there'll actually be a bit more to do as a healer.